It's back! My HST is back from repair, and I'm pleased to say that it works. Almost. So my HST, with its broken dummy power car, went back to TMC and it came back and it's working. But there is a little bit of a problem, and I'll show you that now. It's to do with the lights. Both the front and the back power car have working lights. Here it is going off into the background. That's the dummy cab power car there, and its red lights work really nicely. It looks amazing when the lights are low. They do shine out really nicely, and I think it just adds that extra dimension. I'm really pleased with it. This is the main power car, the powered one. You can see its white lights on the front are very, very bright. It looks even better as it goes around the layout like this. It looks stunning, and I'm really pleased with the way that the lights work. However, on the dummy power car that's come back from repair, the lights just aren't as bright. Those ones in the middle, they're kind of very, very dim, and it looks very different to the one at the front. Now, I don't know whether this is right or not, whether it's by design or whether it's a problem. So I haven't quite decided whether to send it back again or just live with it. I honestly don't really notice it that much that it's going around the layout, so I think I'm just probably going to live with it. It doesn't look too bad. The red ones at the back, they work really nicely, so I'm probably just going to live with it. It does look pretty dim though, doesn't it? So I don't know. We'll wait and see. So what else have I been doing this month? It's been a bit of a funny month. I've been really busy at work, so I haven't done all that much. All that I've done really is painted this bit of track. This is the last bit of track on the viaduct that hasn't been ballasted yet. So I've run my brush around it using my dirty brown kind of mucky paint, and the plan is to now ballast it, and once I've done that, the whole track will be complete on the viaduct. You see here I slop paint everywhere, but it's a really simple case of just rubbing it with a bit of old cardboard just before the paint dries. It's acrylic paint, so it doesn't really stick that thoroughly to the track anyway, but this bit of card, possibly dabbed with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, IPA, just gets the tops of the tracks really nice and clean again. And this is the technique I use for cleaning my track most of the time. I do have track rubbers and I do use them sometimes, but mainly I find that a bit of corrugated card like this works just as well as anything else. It doesn't seem to damage the track either. It rubs it off and all of the dirt comes off really nicely. So that's the technique I use, and that's really all I've done this month. But on to something different now. This is Pig Hill Yard. This is a little shunting plank that I made about 8 years ago as a Christmas present for my boys. It's a 3-siding inglenook shunting layout, which is kind of a puzzle where you put certain elements of stock on the track and then you produce a random order of a train, and this puzzle is to use the short head shunt and the minimum amount of space that you've got to jiggle around all of the stock to produce a train of the random length. It's taught me a lot of the techniques that I use on Chandwell. Obviously it's 00 gauge rather than N, but I wanted something, this is going back a long time now, I wanted something to teach me all of the main techniques, and it worked really well. You can see here it's got the graffiti, it's got the scale scenes inspired buildings, it's got the retaining walls, it's got the dirty track, it's got the little personalised elements. So it basically it's the proving ground for everything that became Chandwell. Really, I'm really pleased with it. My boys really like it. To be honest, it lives in the garage, and it's mainly a home for spiders. It only comes out every once in a while, but I thought it might be worth showing here just so you can see what it is. So it's very, very simple. It's DC. It's got some power, which powers the LED lights in the buildings, as well as the 3 DCC Concepts cobalt point motors. That bit there, the card with the lights inside it, that's the sunken well underneath the track inside the diesel depot, and it's very, very simple. Mainly the wires are just carrying the LED lights. I made these cards, I photographed each element of stock, everything was different obviously, and the game is you take the cards, you shuffle them, and then you have to produce a train of the required length and makeup. I used scale scenes buildings with a few little embellishments of my own. I put all the lighting inside them, I made my own signs, and it works really nicely. And a bridge. I used PVA glue for the river, for the stream, which worked really well, but over time it has faded. It's clogged up and gone kind of a milky white colour rather than a nice clear water colour. So when it comes to the river on Chandwell, I'm not going to use PVA glue. So that is it. That is Pig Hill Yard. There is the inspection pit, which I was talking about before. That was good fun to make. I think it looks really nice with the lights inside it. And that is essentially all there is to it. It's got a very, very simple control panel on the front, which is an exact representation of the track plan, which I made in AnyRail and then printed it out, stuck it onto the front of the layout and added a couple of LEDs. The LEDs are changed by the point motors underneath, and the correct light shows up depending upon how the points are set. Because my children use it, it's often populated by Lego figures, these giant men, and you often find them in the trucks and dotted around on the layout. It adds an extra dimension of fun for them as they send their characters from one side to the other. And because it's designed to be used by children, it also has a diode in the end there, so the locomotive automatically stops rather than cracking into the edge of the layout. And that is it really. It's great. I think as a 00 layout it's perfect for small hands, and it's given my children something to play with and to have as their own, and they really enjoy playing with Pig Hill Yard on the rare occasions that it comes out of the garage. So let's get back to Chandwell. So the only other thing that I did on Chandwell this month was continue with the works build. So here it is as it's looking at the moment. It's in about what will be its final position. There's going to be a footpath on the side of the road there, so it will be set back a little bit. Here's a little bit of a look at the graffiti I've been working on. I've done another video previously about how I use Inkscape to make the graffiti, so this is just following the same techniques as that. I tend to use my own name generally and my own little doodles, which I quite enjoy making. And I think once this building is in situ next to the viaduct, it's going to look really good. It's a really sturdy building. The scale glazed windows work really nicely, and I'm really pleased with how it's coming on. I've put a little bit of detail on the inside, as you can see. I think I showed that in my last update. But what I've done is I've started to add the actual outer walls now, and it's coming on really nicely. So if you're interested in how this is building, please continue to follow my Inkscape series, where I'm showing step by step inside the Inkscape software itself how I'm making this building. Inkscape is a free download, so you know you've got nothing to lose if you want to go check it out and give it a go. There's going to be some steps down beside the bridge here, which will allow pedestrians access to the footpath at the side of the river. And then the river is going to go under the 13th century bridge there, and then under the iron bridge, and then around here. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to use the forced perspective technique similar to how I made the road disappear in one of my previous videos. And I think from down here it'll look as though the river is going into the distance and then curving around to the right there. So I'm going to start the river next month, so hopefully in my next update we will have an actual river, or the beginnings of a riverbed going underneath the iron bridge here. And that is it. It's been a slow month in September. I've not done all that much, but I'm pleased with how Chandwell's coming along, and I'm really pleased as my HST has come back from TMC. They've done a brilliant job on the repair. There's no hint of the problem that beset it before. So let's just leave it there. Please, if you're interested in seeing the continued evolution of Chandwell, please subscribe, and the button to do that is just there. Click the class 47 if you want to subscribe and follow along. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.